Hi, my name is John Maynard Keynes. I was an English economist during the early 20th century, and introduced economic ideas and theories that fundamentally changed the theory and practice of modern macroeconomics and the economic policies of governments. But let me establish some context of the time period I lived in. Imagine you are living in the early 1930s in the United States. The stock market has just crashed in 1929 and the unemployment rate was soon to be 25%. The government under the Hoover administration tried to contain the chaos caused by the Depression, but ultimately failed to, as its economic policies was not enough to stop the deflationary cycle. One of the main causes of the Depression was credit and installment buying, where you will pay off the full amount of the product or service over time. Most Americans during the 1920s mainly bought their goods and services this way. But the problem with this is that there was no guarantee that the seller will receive their installments. And when economic uncertainty increases, trust breaks down and halts transactions. Amplified by the United States' weak banking system, with most banks being small individual firms that relied on their own resources. When there was a panic, breakdown in certainty, many people rushed to the bank to withdraw their money, and if the bank did not have enough money on hand, it went under. As depositors lined up to take their money out before the banks went belly up, banks called in loans and sold assets. Credit, which fueled so many parts of the economy from buying kitchen appliances to running a business, froze up, a credit freeze, and banks stopped lending. This eventually leads to deflation. The meaning of deflation is a general decline in prices, often caused by a reduction in the supply of money or credit. Deflation is much worse than inflation, as anyone who has slept on an air mattress knows. The reason why deflation can be worse than inflation, the general increase in prices, is when prices drop, businesses cut costs, mainly by laying off workers. These workers then cannot buy anything, so inventory continued to build up and prices drop further. Banks were not lending money, so employers could not borrow it to make payroll to pay their workers, and more business went bankrupt, therefore leaving more workers unable to purchase the goods and services that would keep the businesses open. This is what really caused the Depression. This is where Keynesian economics comes to the rescue. The definition of Keynesian economics is an economic theory of total spending in the economy and its effects on output and inflation. I advocated for increased government expenditures and lower taxes to stimulate demand and pull the global economy out of the Depression. The idea is that by influencing aggregate demand through activist stabilization and economic intervention policies by the government, this will create a bottom to stop the deflationary cycle. Now a lot of you are asking, why didn't the Hoover administration engage in some good old-fashioned Keynesian pump priming? Unfortunately, the Hoover administration did not have a TARDIS. My book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money, was not published until 1936, when the Depression was well underway. Even under the Roosevelt administration, my ideas were not fully put into effect by FDR, as they called for a balanced budget. But the opportunity came at the end of 1941, when the United States engaged in the biggest spending project of its history, World War II. By following the ideas of Keynesian economics, the United States managed to escape the Depression, and begin its rise to be the most powerful nation on earth. Thank you for listening.